Hi, you're here with JT from All About Country Music Promotions, and today we are having a little chat, little one-on-one with Travis Wayne.
Hi, great to be here, Joe. Thanks for having me.
Awesome, it's great to have you here. So Travis has come all the way from Kentucky, that's where he originates from. He is a Nashville recording artist. He does have an album, which I have right here. So if you don't have this one, you really should get out and grab it because it really is a corker. I've been lucky enough to be listening to it now for a good couple of years, but Travis is currently working on his new album, which hopefully should be out maybe early next year. So, okay, now for those that don't know who you are, who are not familiar with your music, tell our viewers a little bit about you.
My name's Travis Wayne. I'm from Kentucky, a little small town in London. It's where I live. It's about 10,000 miles from here. You'll have to translate that into kilometers, of course. Basically, just an old country boy. I play a lot of music and sing and travel, and you know, I'm an avid hunter and fisherman back in the States. I like to ride motorcycles. Just typical things. Nothing really special. Just an undying passion for music.
Okay, so what got you into country music? Have you always been a country music fan?
No, believe it or not, I grew up watching my dad play guitar, and he's played in rock bands since I was a kid. Most of the stuff I grew up listening to was the AC/DC, the Guns N' Roses, the rock and roll, the 70s, 80s rock stuff. And for a long time, when I was a young guitar player, that's all I played. It's what I really loved. But as I got older and I learned, well, if you want to make music and make money, you got to play country, especially in the States. Rock and roll, the new modern country is more like the classic sounding rock without the crazy high vocal range. Plus, I learned real quick that I didn't quite have the range to do the Bon Scott, Brian Johnson stuff from AC/DC. So then it went back to, okay, what can I sing? What can I sing comfortable? What can I make my own? And that's kind of where I fell into country. And then when I started listening to country, you start hearing the storylines and the stories they tell, and it's real life stuff. Then I really started drawing more towards the country and more away from the rock and roll.
So what has been your biggest career highlight, you would say, since you've been a country artist?
Biggest highlight, I had a couple. I won Male Vocalist of the Year 2014 for the Nashville Universe. It's a big independent Nashville scene in Nashville, Tennessee. It does great things. And then probably being able to be on a reality show was a direct result of the music. And just the people that I've met along the way, the people you meet, the relationships you build, from people that go on to be big stars to people that don't really go on to be anything, but you build these lifelong friendships, and that's been the coolest ride of this the whole time.
So who would you say your biggest country influence has been throughout your career?
If I was to pick a country artist, it's cliche, but I'm a big George Strait fan. I like Alan Jackson, I like Travis Tritt. The new artists are great. Luke Bryan, Jason Aldean, they've all kind of got that new modern sound. But if you look at what really defined country music, it was George Strait, it was Alan Jackson, it was Merle and Waylon. Yeah. And although I don't incorporate a lot of the Merle and the Waylon into our set list, because when you do any type of cover tunes, people want to do things that's a little bit more familiar and a little bit more modern. Probably listening to those guys, the way they sing, the way they present themselves. If you've ever seen a George Strait concert, he's Wrangler jeans, button up, and a cowboy hat. He doesn't jump around the stage. He doesn't do a lot, but his presence, just by him being there, and the way that he paints that picture of what he's singing with his voice is it's unbeatable. And that's the real heart of country music.
Yeah. Okay, so now I've been lucky enough to host Travis for the last week, so
Poor Joe.
I've had him here pulling all kinds of pranks, doing all sorts of fun things. Now, Travis has been quite lucky. We've taken him to the Gold Coast. We took him down there. He got to swim in the ocean. We took him down to the border, Queensland, New South Wales, so he's got that photo. We took him up to Australia Zoo and showed him around Australia Zoo. We also took him to the Lone Pine Koala Sanctuary, where we had to walk around and checked out the koalas and the snakes, and Travis is quite proud of the fact that he frightened the living daylights out of me
awesome.
Whilst I had a snake this far from my face, and he thought it would be really kind to scare me.
Oh, we got to tell this story. We have to. So, set the stage for you. They're bringing this huge snake around, and Joe is sitting in the very front, and me and her daughter Paige are kind of sitting in the back. And I just found out with Paige that she doesn't really like snakes a whole lot. Not that she wants to kill them, she's just not a fan. So this guy's bringing this 7.5 foot snake around, and about the time the snake gets about this far from her face, I go, boo. She jumps, she screams. Me and Paige just start dying laughing. It's the funniest thing. They stopped the show, and everybody's looking at me and Paige because we were so laughing. And you really had to be there. It was awesome.
Oh, hilarious.
But the host, the guy that's talking about the snake, he stops, and he's trying to figure out what in the heck are they laughing at. Well, once he figures out, because the look on her face is private, she turns around, "You bloody walk home." That's been a highlight. That was awesome.
I was very well mannered. I didn't say too many cuss words. Now we also, I mean, Travis was lucky enough to see Travis Collins perform live in concert the other night. We took a drive up to the Palmwoods Hotel, and he got to meet Travis as well as Liam Brew, and he met Brooke Chevelle, and some of the fans came up and actually met him and stuff, which was really good. We actually took Travis in to get an Australian tattoo today. Do you want to show the crowd your new ink? So we have. He wanted something different, but he didn't want too much detail because he was a little bit of a sooky sook when he was sitting in the chair.
Oh, listen to this.
So he sort of picked the design, and then I said, well, why don't you put Straya in there, because we're pretty, really lazy with our speech, and it's, so I think that's pretty cool.
I wanted something, if you see here, we had a star. I had them add a star because this is where I landed my first trip in Australia. This is Brisbane. Straya, I actually bought a shirt that says Straya, and it was Joe's idea with the wording, and I just wanted something with the continent. And as I come back and visit and meet new people and go to bigger cities, I want to add stars to all the places I go. So that's kind of the idea behind the leaving it open in the middle.
Sounds like a great idea to me. I guess I have to go and get an American, an American tattoo, and I can start doing the same.
Yeah, you should.
Okay, no, maybe not. I'm running out of places to put ink. Okay, so getting back to your music, are you a guitar player or a singer?
Both. I was a lead guitar player for a long time. I played in rock bands, as we stated earlier. And then I started singing country music, and the country style of playing is a lot different than the rock and roll, so I had to kind of adapt and learn some new styles and some new picking patterns. When we were putting the band together initially, when we first took our first go out on the road, it was, I remember the guys plain as day, it was initially myself and Dave Howard, Walt Bradley, Jeffrey Leidig, and Kyle Jones, which Kyle didn't make the cut halfway through. We kind of had some issues with him and ended up picking up Jamie Combs, which was a phenomenal, probably one of the world's best drummers. And we got together, and Walt's a great guitar player, but Walt's quite not as fast. He's very tasteful, slide guitar, kind of making steel guitar sounds and things like that, where I was more used to the rock and roll side. So it was a really good blend. Initially, I just wanted to sing. I didn't want to play guitar, maybe acoustic, and really be able to perform. And my mom says, "You don't know what to do when you don't have a guitar in your hand." And then the band's like, "Why pick up a guitar player? You need to be playing guitar with Walt." So it's like, although I'm a singer and a guitar player, I've never been able to get away from guitar. Even now in the band that I'm in, the band that we play in the States, I'm still behind my guitar, which is okay. I don't get to do some of the stage show stuff like I would like to do because I'm confined to my pedal board and things like that. But it's who I am. It's people knows me not only as a singer, but as a guitar player.
Yeah. So if I was to get a hold of your phone, which, mind you, I've done quite a lot this week, but if I was to get a hold of your phone and go through your playlist, what kind of artists would we hear?
You really be surprised. You would hear, of course, you'd hear some George Strait, you'd hear Al Dean, Luke Bryan, but you'd also hear George Strait, you'd hear Vince Gill. I really love Vince Gill's voice. Yeah. But then you'll also hear some other extremes. You'll hear a band called Skillet, which is a Christian kind of heavier rock band. You'll hear a very wide diverse, because when we write and when we play, we kind of pull from everything. You know, you can have a really clean, nice ballad, and then you can have a really, crunchy, like the song I Like It Already on the album. You can have it really in your face. But then we can kind of step back and give you the more Vince Gill feel with More Home Than House. So rather than being one specific style, my whole career has been versatile. Yep. Some of our stuff is bluesy, some of our stuff is really heavy rock, some of our stuff is real modern country, some of it's classic. So when you pick up an album of most American artists, huge down to, they have a very specific sound, and they stay in this bubble, so to speak. And I try to stay out of that bubble. Yeah. I want to do different things. I want to sound different. I want to play different. I don't want to be known for just this sound.
Yep. Yep. Cool. So we're going to have a variety. I have to go and check that out later. I'll let you know, guys. Now, since you've been here, you have learnt a whole new language.
I have.
As you have found out, we Aussies tend to abbreviate everything, shorten everything. We don't pronounce our letters out the way you guys do. So share with the audience some of the different terms, I suppose, that you've found. So I'll give you one example, like using a car. We call it the bonnet and the boot. They call it the trunk and the hood. So that's just one thing. Like the first time I said to him, you need to put your shoes in the boot and or your clothes in the boot or something, and he's gone, the what? So like just let our viewers know, what are some of the other different terms that you've found?
Macca's, McDonald's.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool term. Boot and bonnet are probably still my favorite because I'm thinking, how am I supposed to put all my clothes in my boot? And I didn't even bring a boot, so where am I supposed to put my stuff? They are. There's so many different ways that they say things, like Straya for Australia. That's been really cool. There's so many. I mean, but boot and bonnet are probably my favorite in Macca's.
Fortnight is another one.
Fortnight, which means bi-weekly for us in America. That means every other week for them. They pay things quarterly down here, where we do it, monthly.
Yep.
They do rent weekly, where we do it monthly. There's a lot of differences. But the biggest thing I found about this country, it's really, really clean. The air's clean. The roads, you don't see any trash on the side of the roads. You don't see homeless folks living under bridges. Rather, you see them standing at factories with signs saying, I need to work. And then these people will actually give them jobs for the day. So these people, they don't want to be homeless. They don't want to live like we see in some of our major cities in the States. Probably the highlight of this, and since we're talking about words, they call a pharmacy a chemist down here, which is different from the States.
Yeah.
So we go into the pharmacy, the chemist, for the second time, because I've suffered a cold, seems like the whole time I've been here. And there was a little cute girl behind the counter, and she's talking to me, and without thinking, I said, I really love your accent. Joe smacks, she's like, wait a minute, you have the accent. You're the one from out of the country. And she's right. To them, I have the accent, but the way they talk down here, even though they shorten and abbreviate, and I have to really listen, because they'll run it together kind of like we do in the country, like words like widgy didgy that we use, not quite that bad, but they'll shorten everything, and I've had to learn to adapt to that this week, and it's been fun.
So, I mean, overall, I guess I know how much you've loved being here. You've loved the sights that you've seen, the places that we've taken you. I know that you do have plans on coming back. When that is, we don't know. But we'll be sure to keep you in the loop and let you know. Now, for people watching this, where can they find more Travis Wayne?
Of course, you can always find links on All About Country Promotion. Joe takes real good care of all the independent artists, either in the States and in Australia. Facebook.com/official Travis Wayne is where you keep up to date. If you can find my regular page, it's just under Travis Wayne. If I have space, I'll add you. I find that I keep running out of people, and I kind of start cycling through so I can add new people. But I think they max you at like 5,000.
Yeah.
That's the number one way. We've got tons of videos on YouTube that you can watch. The album's available on iTunes. If you're an Apple user, it's available on Amazon MP3 if you're a Droid user. So you have all these different avenues. And, of course, Joe, I'm going to leave her with a bunch of hard copies. I think she's going to give a few signed ones away, and she's got some here.
We are. Travis has been kind enough to sign this. So what we'll do is we'll run a competition with this. So if you want to jump on and like the All About Country Music Promotions page on Facebook, we'll run a competition, and I've got a few signed copies which we will happily give away to some of our likers. So I guess one question I like to ask all of my musicians that I speak to, and this is a little bit of a fun one. If you're having a dinner party and you're only allowed to have 3 people, it doesn't matter if they're dead or alive, but only 3, who would you have?
3 people. That would be easy. That would be both of my boys, of course, and probably my grandfather that passed away when I was younger. Because he supported Rick Arnold, who's a big known star in the U.S. He wrote a song called Hog Wild. Mm-hmm. But my grandfather, all of my life, even when people didn't support me and didn't believe in me, my grandfather would come to every basketball game. He'd be wearing oxygen, and a lot of my family really wasn't involved in those things. And my kids kind of define who I am. They, I do the things, I work because of them, I play because of them, I'm where I am because of them. The song I'm Still Dad was wrote for them. Mm-hmm. In a very low point in my life, and that was a kind of a launch song for me. It really got me introduced into some folks heard it, introduced me to Dave DeMay and some guys down in Nashville, which was a blessing to actually allow me to do all the things that I've done. So them two has to be everywhere I go. Even when I'm here, I'm 10,000 miles away, they're still here with me.
You're still on the phone to them.
We're on phones, we're on FaceTime. But the big thing is my grandfather. I would have given anything for him to see me today.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time.
No, I've had a blast.
Thank you for coming and staying with us and being part of our family for the last week. Not so many thank yous for frightening the bejesus out of me at every opportunity.
Holding that thought, you've got to go to official Travis Swain. There's a nice little clip of me frightening Joe on the thing, go on to like the page. And see, we frightened her at the snake thing. And me and Paige got a kick out of it. So earlier today.
Travis thought it would be cool to be at home. There's be warned, there's a few little colourful words in there, guys. I was a little bit frightened.
I think the last thing she said is, "When are you getting back on the plane?"
Yes.
But you got to go on there and watch the video.
When are you leaving? So Travis is actually flying out tomorrow morning, and I know that he's desperately looking home. He's looking forward to getting back home to his boys. But I do know that he will be back in the country. We will try and get him some festival gigs and stuff over here. So thanks for listening in. Thanks for tuning in and learning a little bit more about Travis Swain. Please jump on and support the independent artists, whether they be Australian or international. They all need our help. And stay tuned for the competition coming up to win a copy of Travis's album. Thanks so much.
Thanks, guys. The last thing I want to leave you with, make sure to show Joe plenty of support. Help share her page, because it's folks that really believe in country music and really believe in the artists that's out there that may not get as much notoriety as others. It's folks like her and her family that has invited me into their home and has treated me like family. And if you're ever determining to visit Australia, you've got to talk with Joe. You've got to get with her and her husband and her daughter. I think they're working on something now for international artists to bring you guys down and show you things. It's definitely going to be worth it. I've been on many vacations in my entire life, and I want to say this for everybody to see, because I know the folks at home will see this too. I have had more fun and I have felt more at home this week with this group and this family than anybody could ever imagine. And when you go halfway around the world from people that you've met through music, that you've only chatted with on Facebook, they bring you into their home and they treat you just like family. And I've noticed, Joe, when we go out, we went and seen Travis and Liam and met a lot of great artists down here, enjoyed listening to those guys. They all treat Joe like family for a reason, because she treats them like family. And there's nobody in the States, and I'll say this, and I've said this to Dave, that really truly has a passion for country music like you. I don't think the people in Nashville have that passion. And if they did, I think that country music would be a lot more solid than it is now. I think the live venues would be a lot bigger than they are now. And it's folks like Joe and All About Country Promotions and things that remind you when you're out of the country, when you're 10,000 miles away from home, that music is what bonds everybody.
Oh, yeah. And I actually, just before we go, I do want to give a shout out to Tracy and the Big D from
Absolutely.
From 104.9 Sunshine FM up on the Sunshine Coast. Did a great little interview with Travis. You can happily jump on their Facebook page, their web page, and you can view that. And also Kicks Country did a little interview as well. So be sure to listen out for that one. So again, thanks, Travis.
Always a pleasure.
Looking forward to having you back in the country sometime real soon.
Yes, ma'am. Everybody, All About Country Promotions. Take care of Joe. See you guys soon.
Thanks, guys. Bye.